This episode perfectly sums up why this show exists, how the Bad Batch team are, if you think about it, the perfect characters to follow the story with, and how exciting this period of Star Wars can be. War-Mantle, a really memorable episode and one of the better ones, is here. There are a few key things we have to talk about. Hi fellow Disney Plus watchers, this is Thoughts After Disney Plus Watch, where we review everything new Disney Plus coming out, and I'm glad you're watching. This is the channel that's specifically about movies, shows, and all that's Disney Plus original stuff. So just fair warning here before I go on, I do want to discuss spoilers to really do this episode justice, so you can press that watch later button if you haven't seen it yet. Still here, let's do this. The episode opens with a clone trooper running away from other clone troopers. This episode immediately grabbed my undivided attention because it looked like another deserter story, but with a twist, because what armor is he wearing? Then we go back to the Bad Batch group where we first see Hunter playing with his knife and Omega copying that with her welder. I thought that was really cute, and also this is one of the plain best examples why Omega does really feel like a kid. This show goes out of its way to deliver moments like this where the kid in Omega truly shines through. Copying parent figures is super relatable for almost everyone, I would guess. Then a transmission comes in and it's from Rex, and he's asking the group to break out his old friend that has sent a distress signal, but Rex doesn't know why and what's going on. So when the group examines the signal, it's from an outer rim planet apparently. So they travel to the planet Darrow, where they find tracks that lead them to a giant Empire base. And while I was pretty excited to see a batch of stormtroopers in temporary armor, I gasped, and yes, this is me, whenever the music is giving me signals, I just really respond to that. So we hear and I was like, oh my god, it's happening. The Death Star motive has found its way into the show, and somehow that felt really huge. After they broke out CC Gregor, we actually get a lot of information on why this base is now packed with stormtroopers and not clone troopers. And Gregor fittingly points out, hey, clone troopers are soldiers of the Republic. That doesn't exist anymore. These soldiers come from all over the galaxy and swear loyalty to the Republic. And yes, that is precisely what I talked about in one of the earlier reviews. Having stormtroopers is a two-in-one deal. Not only do you have soldiers at your disposal, all of these people are people you don't have to oppress anymore. It's kind of the reason that mind control is a better tool to gain power than building robots that replace the people, because the people can fight the robots, but they can't do anything if they themselves are part of the program. That's how I see it. And we get in this episode also lots of insight in what's going on at Kamino. We actually get to know the reason they are out of the picture later on in the timeline, and it makes a lot of sense. The Empire is taking matters into their own hands, and because they're choosing a different program, the clone troopers aren't allowed to exist. Because it's not only that their contract expires, they're now trapped into this position where this whole operation cannot exist anymore. Because what if they join forces with a rebellion group of some sorts? This would make for a really cool what if episode of television, by the way. If Lucasfilm would ever do something like Marvel does next month with what if the Kaminoans and the clone troopers continue to exist, joining forces with the upcoming rebellion, stormtroopers versus clone troopers? Haha, make it happen, Lucasfilm, make it happen. The action is nerdy in this episode. It's really cool and beautiful looking, but also just nerdy, am I right? Seeing these temporary TIE fighters that look a lot like Darth Maul's starship, at least that's my association. It's such a great piece of Star Wars content this week, only for the dogfights alone. But great, geeky action is not new for the Bad Batch. I just recently started rewatching the Clone Wars, and I have to say I should have done it a bit earlier. I just couldn't remember where we met Gregor before, and apparently after a real quick bit of research, he's part of the Clone Wars arc with that guy. Yeah, just on a quick side note, loads of respect for D. Bradley Baker for creating another unique voice for this clone. It's really something how many voices are in Clone Wars and the Bad Batch, all done by the same actor. And that squad commander too, by the way, where have we seen him before? I kind of remember him from a cover of a Star Wars game, but I'm not a gamer, so I wouldn't be so sure. Enlighten me in the comments if you feel like it. Of course, the ending leaves me excited for the next two. Really excited. Although I do wonder, will we see much more of Kamino again? I always imagined the season finale of the show to take place on Kamino, a clone uprising of some sorts. Now I do feel like the coming two episodes will take place on Darrow, but hey, if we get Crosshair versus Hunter, more background on Omega, and lots of action, I'll be satisfied too, but I don't want to come across as an entitled fan. This episode will probably be the episode where I point people to when they didn't watch any of the animated shows and wonder why the stormtroopers are replacing the clone troopers off screen. This might be the most important episode of the season so far, because it totally embodies why this show exists: to make money. I'm kidding, but that too. No, what I mean is, it's all about showing how the Empire replaced the Republic and the chaos that leaves behind, and that's what's so striking about this episode. It shows us what that looks like, along with all the temporary ships and armors, stormtroopers coming out of Republic ships, confused clones who have to train stormtroopers, which F's up their conscience. It was the perfect story for it. I feel like I'm going bananas in terms of how much we have to talk about, but I feel like we touched on everything that is important to me to talk about this week. Of course, if I'm forgetting something, leave a comment, because there's so much and I'm blown away. I'm thinking about wrapping this up. Thank you so much for watching. I'm curious, what did you think of this episode? Be sure to let me know in the comment section. Don't forget, if you enjoy the idea of discussing Disney Plus content with us, that red button looks familiar, right? And if you're interested in thoughts on previous episodes, it's all in the description, or you can browse the channel page. Did you like this video? Then be sure to consider giving that a click. Thanks. For now, have a wonderful day and see ya.